Go.
According to People for the Ethical Treatment of Animals, also known to most as PETA, each year more than 100 million animals are killed, and before they are killed, they suffer, experimented upon, isolated, and traumatized. These animals are treated like nothing more than disposable laboratory equipment. Those who support animal and animal welfare, including members of PETA, the Humane Society of the United States, and the National Anti-Vivisection Society, are responsible for helping raise awareness of animal suffering and unnecessary animal testing. As a result, scientists now employ the 3 R's in their research: replace, reduce, refine. Pressure must be kept on the scientific research committee to make these changes whenever possible. The cruel practice of animal experimenting on animals is wasteful and unreliable, and no longer necessary with advances in technology and scientific practices. Today, I will present you with the facts on what animal testing is used for and what it can be replaced with. We will be focusing on the first R, replacing. I've been an animal lover for as long as I can remember. I have always felt the need to care for and protect animals. I have taken vet tech classes. I work in the pet industry. I had the opportunity to travel to Costa Rica when I was in elementary school and work with green sea turtles. These exposures have opened my eyes to various kinds of animal cruelty, including animal testing. Let's begin with some information provided by Animal Experimentation, an overview by Sally Driscoll and Laura Finney. The belief behind animal testing is an odd one. It is said that animals have no pain and humans are dominant over all other animals. This is wrong. There are many laws that have been passed to rewrite what our past ancestors believed were correct. One law is the Toxic Substance Control Act. The Times editorial board stated, "The purpose of this new law is not to make animal welfare a priority over human safety. The idea is to discourage animal testing when there are better alternatives. That's not just good for animals, but it's good for people too." There has always been animal rights activists, but without science advancements, animal experimentation was always pushed back. That's why it's more important than ever to stop animal testing on animals now, since we do have the advances in technology and science to support it. According to Sally Driscoll and Laura Finney from Animal Experimentation and Overview, approximately 95% of the millions of animals used in experimentations are mice and rats, with the remaining 5% comprised of mostly dogs, cats, guinea pigs, rabbits, birds, and non-human primates, such as chimpanzees and monkeys. Even with laws against animal cruelty, animal testing is still used in the United States. Here are some examples of the current experimentation happening in the United States. MARC, which is also known as the Meat Animal Research Center, is funded by the taxpayers. Their experiments have been halted, but although MARC halted the experiments, the animals that were being used were left to starve and die. Countless lambs, pigs, cows are suffering in ongoing experiments that were started previous to the halt. Monkeys are also experimented on as well. Over 100,000 primates are experimented on in the United States and infected with different diseases. When they are pumped with drugs and chemicals, after all that horrendous torture, the experimenters drill holes, screw objects into the live monkeys' heads. These monkeys are imported and stripped from their families. On top of monkeys being tested on with drugs and MARC testing on animals, the military also tests their new weapons on animals as well. According to PETA, 100,000 live animals are shot, stabbed, and killed by the US military forces. What for, you may ask? Just for military exercise training, target practice. Lastly, animals are still being used for smoking research and products. We all know smoking is bad for us, so why are we forcing innocent animals into this research? Health officials have known for years that smoking cigarettes is terrible, yet animals are still being used. Monkeys and dogs both are being used for these experiments, not just for cigarettes, but for e-cigarettes as well. There are many more animal experiments that are going on. These are just a few mentioned. So why do we have animal experimentation happening when there are technological and scientific advancements available practices? An alternative to animal testing would be vitro testing, where chemicals are tested on the skin cells, which would provide more accurate results than testing on animals. According to the Times editorial board, testing chemicals for skin irritation no longer requires rabbits to be subjected to toxic levels of substances. These days, researchers can grow human skin cells and vitro test the chemicals on them. These results are more relevant to human safety since they were tested on human cells and not rabbits. In addition to vitro testing, you can also have computer models. It is stated in animal testing is bad science. Nearly 95% of US medical schools, including Yale, Harvard, and Stanford, do not use any animals to train medical students. An experiment with animal dissection or experimentation on animals is not required for or expected of those applying to medical school. Medical students are trained with a combination of didactic methods, sophisticated human patient stimulators, interactive computer programs, safe human-based learning methods, and clinical experience. Today, one can even become a board-certified surgeon without harming any animals. Some medical professional organizations even require physicians to complete simulation training, not on animal laboratories, to become board certified. Another way to avoid testing on animals is through human patient simulators. According to PETA, strikingly lifelike, computerized human patient simulators that breathe, bleed, convulse, talk, and even die have been shown to teach students better than crude exercises that involve cutting up animals. The most high-tech simulators mimic illnesses and injuries and give the appropriate biological response to medical interventions and medical injections. Lastly, you have human volunteers. The article, Animal Testing is Bad Science, states animal tests are so unreliable, they make those human trials all the more risky. The Food and Drug Administration, also known as the FDA, has noted that 92% of all drugs that are shown to be safe and effective in animal tests fail in human trials because they don't work or are dangerous. Let's go over all the points made with animal testing. In conclusion, the more you know about the new practices that are made in research through the 3 R's, replace, reduce, and refine, it doesn't make any sense to experiment on animals when you had advancements from vitro testing, computer models, lifelike human simulators, and human volunteers. You don't need to treat animals cruelly by experimenting on them. So the more we use these advancements, the less animals such as dogs, rabbits, and chimpanzees will be tested on. You can do your part too. When shopping for your household items, skincare, makeup, hair care, you can switch to products that are not tested on animals. Just look for the bunny or the green check mark, like so. Also, you can build your awareness of companies that continue to use animal experimentation and advocate, when possible, for funding that supports research that develops technology to replace animal testing.